Hey guys, it's Tuesday again, which means it's time for another tutorial. This was another well-requested video and it's how I plan my working week. So this is a walkthrough from Monday to Sunday. Just to keep everything neat, we're going to assume that we've got 2 cake orders this week. One being collected on Friday night and one being delivered to a venue on Saturday morning. Okay, so we kick the working week off on a Monday. It is too early to bake yet, so we're going to blitz through our admin. So you want to concentrate on your emails, your cake doodles, possibly if you've got time, catch up on some tax stuff, like filing your receipts, edit cake pictures, and if you're like me, edit your YouTube videos. If you have spare time today, you can concentrate on some social media like commenting, liking and uploading, that sort of thing. Tuesdays. This is one of the longest days and quite messy. Tuesday morning, I set about baking the cakes. Maybe one will be vanilla and one will be chocolate, so I get all my flavours baked over a few hours and then leave them to cool on a wire rack. I often get asked how long they are left, but it's pretty much like asking how long is a piece of string. Smaller cakes will cool faster than larger cakes. Once they are cool to the touch and no longer warm in the centre, I transfer them to a Tupperware dome to settle. You can of course use cling film, it does the same job. I leave those to rest under here all through the afternoon whilst I make up a batch of ganache. If you want to see how I make that, I'll leave all the videos linked below. After we have all had our tea, or as you posh people call it, dinner, I'll set to slicing them and filling them roughly about 7 o'clock at night. Level them, coat them in sugar syrup, fill and stack the layers, and then I give them a rough coat of ganache. This outer layer will seal the cake in and keep it from drying out. Now it depends on how many cakes I have to fill, but sometimes I'll leave it at this stage until the next day, or I may give it another layer to neaten it up if I have time. Now on to Wednesday. So on Wednesday morning, I give the cakes their final layer of ganache. So this is when you smooth it all out for those sharp edges. Again, I already have a tutorial on this, which is also linked below. Once I've gone over them a few times until I'm happy, I'll leave them to set and try and work my way through some more emails if I've got time. Those emails always pile up. Once the ganache is set, I cover them in sugar paste and I use my acetate smoothers for the edges. Sometimes, if the orders aren't huge, I can usually set to work making figures or decorations on the Wednesday evening. But if I've had a lot of tiers to cover, I usually only get the ganaching and the sugar pasting done on this day. And possibly stacking. Thursday. Finally, all that ganache can be cleared away and it's starting to look a bit more like a kitchen again. Today is decorating day. This is figure making, painting, airbrushing, moulding, cutting, and possibly screaming if something goes wrong. As we have a collection for Friday night, we'll be concentrating on that cake first, aiming to have it done tonight or maybe tomorrow morning. If we manage to get it done, I move it into the living room where I have a cupboard for completed cakes, just to keep them out of the way of splashes or ganache or overspray on airbrush. I like to put it in a different room and it's out the way. On to Friday, the heat is on. Most people look forward to Fridays, but not us decorators. This is our deadline day and probably our most stressful. If we didn't finish one of the cakes yesterday, that's our main focus this morning. Once that's completed, we can start on the second cake. The first cake is being collected tonight, so I set up my lighting tent, I take some pictures, I box the cake up so it's ready and also print the invoice on the front. Then that just sits there, ready to go. Now we turn our attention to the second cake. Now it fully depends on the design and the size of the cakes, but sometimes you can be done by 5 o'clock and other times not until 3 o'clock in the morning. But the same happens with that one. Photographs, box it, invoice it, it's ready to go. Saturday, that's delivery day. My husband drives and I hold the box all the way to the venue. We live in quite a hilly area with some of the biggest potholes, so it's much safer on my knee where I can tilt and lift the cake to minimise movement and impact. We make it to the wedding venues usually around 10 AM or 11 AM to set up. Just as an added extra, because it doesn't happen every week, but sometimes you'll need to then come home and start baking again. This time, tasters for consultations. Those cakes go through the same process up until the ganaching stage, so these ones don't get ganached. They just get sliced and filled and then wrapped in cling film, ready for the next morning. Sunday, consultation day. Mine start at 10 AM, so I'm up, Tasters are sliced into small pieces and the tables laid out with their order form, tea, coffee, samples and my iPad. My recent consultation day ran from 10 AM to 5 PM, so it can be a long day chatting to couples. If you're lucky, you might fit in some personal hygiene, time to watch TV and time to sneeze, but don't count on it. So yeah, as you can see, it can be a pretty intense 7-day working week. So this is why it's a good idea to make small orders some weeks to give yourself a rest. Maybe you'll be done by 5 o'clock on a Friday. Don't hold consultations that often. You need Sundays to yourself sometimes. And holidays are super important. Give yourself a good week in between some crazy cake weeks. Yep. Cake decorating is not for the faint-hearted, especially if it's your full-time job like mine. Virtual fist bump to everybody out there still surviving it. So what happens if your cake is needed for Sunday instead of Saturday? Shift all your days. Instead of baking on a Tuesday, you shift the baking to a Wednesday and it continues from there. I very rarely take orders on that are needed for midweek. Can you imagine if one was needed for Wednesday and one was needed for Saturday and how all those days would get mixed up? Some people do it, I just like to stick to my days because it would just cause havoc. And it's your business and your rules, so you do what works best for you. I hope this gives some insight on how I sort my working week, and maybe you can take bits to apply to your working week. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button for more organisation videos coming soon. Thanks for watching, bye guys.